Look down at your keyboard for a second. Seriously, why is it arranged like this? QWERTY. It looks completely random, because if keyboards were designed logically, wouldn't they be in ABC order? A, B, C, D, simple. Easy. Makes sense. So why are we all using this strange layout instead? Did someone just invent a confusing keyboard, and somehow the entire world accepted it? Because here's the weird part. The keyboard you use today was actually designed around a problem that no longer exists. To understand this, we have to go back to the very first typewriters, long before computers, long before phones, back when typing was completely mechanical. Now imagine an old typewriter. Every key was connected to a metal arm, and at the end of that arm was a letter. When you pressed a key, the arm would swing upward and strike ink onto paper. Simple idea. But there was a huge problem. If someone typed too fast, those metal arms could crash into each other and jam, especially when commonly used letters were close together. And this happened a lot. Imagine typing quickly, and suddenly the machine gets stuck. You'd have to stop, untangle the arms, and continue again. Very annoying. So the keyboard layout had to change. And this is where the famous QWERTY layout was born, named after the first 6 letters at the top, QWERTY. The goal wasn't to make typing easier. It was actually to make typing slower and smoother. Sounds strange, right? But by spreading out commonly used letter combinations, the machine jammed less often. For example, letters that were frequently typed together were placed farther apart. This reduced collisions between the metal arms, and suddenly, typing became more reliable. Now, here's where things get interesting. Once people learned this layout, it spread everywhere. Typewriter companies adopted it, schools taught it, businesses used it, and millions of people trained their fingers to memorize it. Then came computers. And here's the funny part. Computers no longer had metal arms that could jam. That original problem was gone, completely gone. So technically, keyboards could have been redesigned into something more efficient, maybe even ABC order, but by then, it was too late. The world had already learned QWERTY. Changing it would mean retraining millions of people, rebuilding systems, replacing habits. And humans really don't like changing habits, especially global ones. So QWERTY stayed, not because it was perfect, but because everyone was already used to it. But here's something even more surprising. QWERTY might not actually be the fastest keyboard layout. In fact, other layouts were designed later that claimed to be more efficient. One famous example is the Dvorak keyboard. Its creator believed typing could be faster and more comfortable if the most common letters were placed where your fingers naturally rest. The idea was simple. Reduce finger movement, make typing smoother. And in some tests, people did type faster with it, so if better layouts exist. Why are most people still using QWERTY? Because speed isn't the only thing that matters. Habit matters too. Imagine switching your keyboard today. Even if the new layout is technically better, your fingers would suddenly feel lost. Simple typing would become frustrating. You'd slow down instantly. That's because your brain has spent years building muscle memory. You don't consciously think about where each key is anymore. Your fingers just know. And once millions of people develop that memory, changing the system becomes incredibly difficult. Now think bigger. Schools teach QWERTY. Offices use QWERTY laptops. Phones and keyboards are built around it. So even if another layout is slightly better, QWERTY already has something more powerful. Momentum. The entire world is built around it. And this happens more often than you think. Sometimes the best system doesn't win, the system people get used to wins. But here's something even more fascinating. Modern keyboards still carry tiny traces of typewriter history. Look at the top row of your keyboard. Why are there numbers there? Because old typewriters had them. Why does the shift key exist? Because typewriters literally shifted parts of the machine to type capital letters. Even the sound of mechanical keyboards today reminds people of old typewriters. So every time you type on a modern device, you're still interacting with ideas created over 150 years ago. That's kind of incredible when you think about it. A layout designed to solve a mechanical problem in the 1800s ended up becoming the standard for the digital age, not because it was perfect, but because humans adapted to it. And once enough people adapt to something, it becomes very hard to replace. Now, here's the funny part. If keyboards had started in ABC order from the beginning, that layout would probably feel normal today too. And QWERTY would look strange instead, because what feels logical often depends on what we grow up using. So the next time you look at your keyboard and wonder why the letters seem randomly scattered, remember, you're looking at a design created for old mechanical machines that somehow survived into the modern world. Common thing, surprising history, and now you know why keyboards aren't in ABC order.